All right, welcome back to Celtics Pregame Live. Tom Giles, Eddie House. We got Wyc Grousbeck with us now as well. And we're just listening to all the players talk about the great atmosphere they're seeing behind us as well as we get set for Game 2, Wyc. How do you describe the playoff atmosphere in this building?
My favorite time of year, favorite place to be in the world. Everybody's a Celtic tonight, and except for the Hawks, and they wish they were.
Right.
They wish they were Celtics.
I mean, yeah, definitely. There's going to be a few guys on that side that I would think. How did you feel about it when you played here in the postseason?
I mean, it's nothing like it. You know, I've played in so many different places and in the playoffs, but it's nothing like this Celtics fan base because they understand basketball. So they understand the little things, the small plays, guys diving on the floor. You get rewarded for that. You just don't get rewarded for putting up a lot of points. You get rewarded for doing winning plays, and they understand that. And that right there feeds a team, it feeds a player, and it feeds the crowd as well.
All right, meanwhile, you go back to 2008 and on the quest to that championship, and you got the championship ring on tonight as well. But on the way, it was an opening round series with the Atlanta Hawks. How much do you go back to that opening round series when you look at the fact that Atlanta is the first round opponent?
We had 66 wins in the regular season. We won our first 2 up here. It's like, you got this thing. And then we go down and drop 2 in Atlanta. So anybody in this league can play basketball. Anybody in this league is elite and stepped over 1 million people to get here. And so we got to take these guys very seriously and respect them. And they're going to come out obviously as hot and as hard as they can possibly be, and we got to withstand the run, and then the crowd's got to bring us back to it.
Yeah, what do you remember about that 2008 series and the fact that it was maybe a little more challenging than you guys wanted it to be?
No, it went too long. We played with our food. You know, we instead of just eating and going about our business, washing our dish, and then being in the room playing with the video games like when we were little kids, thought we were playing with our food a little bit. But again, you got to give them credit for what they did. They were a team that were young. It was a new organization as far as new guys coming in, a fusion of young and older players, and also some veteran players that have been there before. And they weren't scared of the moment. That's the one thing I can remember about the Atlanta Hawks that year.
Al Horford went right after Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Young Al Horford was like, listen, buddy.
Yeah, they weren't scared of the moment. Mike Bibby wasn't scared of the moment. Josh Smith wasn't scared of the moment. They had some guys out there, but all in all, I just remember that we just – for whatever reason, we couldn't get it done out in Atlanta. I mean, we would have our chances, and they would just go on runs. But that's the reason why you do get home court advantage. That's the reason why you play the regular season, so you can have a Game 7 on our home court, and you could have the first 2 games at home to get that 2-0 lead. So it was that's what I remember, that we just played with them a little bit too much, but all credit to them because they came out and they weren't scared of us at all.
I mean, it's amazing to think that was 15 years ago, and you talk about Al Horford, and to see him now playing at the high level he's playing at in the way he, you know, one of the leaders of this team, and it's playoff Al that you're seeing.
We signed him for the next 2 years. You know, we want Al. We see what we've got with Al. We're glad he wants to be here, and we want him here, and he's the leader of this team. As
far as Joe Mazzulla goes, what do you think of the job he's done this year? Because, you know, you guys finished with the 2nd best record in the NBA, just 1 game back in Milwaukee. You enter the postseason with good health, with good momentum going into it. So what can you say about the job he's done?
I mean, he stepped in a tough situation. The players met him halfway. He met them halfway, and it's an unbelievable. It's just energy. He is pure energy. He's a lightning bolt. Okay, he's a nuclear reactor. He brings the energy. He's like a little mini Garnett. I never even really thought about that, but he's intense.
Interesting.
And I think he fuels them up. And it's amazing to have a coach who's only 34 fueling up the guys. But that's kind of how I feel about it. What do you think, Eddie?
I think the thing is, I think the hardest thing for him this year was to draw that line. You know, when you're sitting behind the bench and I'm working you out and you're telling me about what's going on at home and, you know, your personal life, we become friends on a different level. When you become a head coach, you still could be friends, but there's a line that you have to have drawn.
Yep.
And you have to be able to hold everybody accountable. And you can't take it personal that if I challenge you more than anybody else because you are the star and I have been working with you. And I think for that relationship to manifest the way it has, to me speaks volumes of not only the respect that they have for him from where he was at last year, but once he got the job and the job he has been doing this year. Because the message, if your stars don't buy in, the team doesn't buy in. And easily you could be a guy that's going to be a one and done getting fired. But the fact of the matter is the players believed in everything that he was saying. obviously you see the record, the way they've played, and the stars believed and everybody else galvanized behind them. And I thought he's done a great job. It's hard, to be a head coach in this league. It's hard to be a player in this league. And to be a guy who's going through those rigors, being jumped on a job that fast, I have to give him a lot of credit.
A lot of credit.
You ever think about jumping at one of those pickup games where he's showing off the intensity?
If you saw me play basketball, you'd realize why I have to be the owner.
I'm with you on that.
But yes, I've thought about it.
Yeah.
But I love basketball, but I'm not at this level.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you that: when did you fall in love with basketball?
Well, the truth is, all sports. I had season tickets to all 4 Boston teams when I figured out I could maybe get a hold of the Celtics. So I'm not just a basketball junkie. I'm a sports junkie, but from a fan perspective. So that's why Brad and Zarin and Austin Ainge and Joe Mazzulla are so important, because I don't have the basketball brain. I don't pretend to, but I love all sports. I'm a competitive athlete from day one.
Which is why you got to love this time of year just in
Love
general.
this time of year. My favorite time of year. Actually, I like May and June a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're playing for something, right?
Especially June. All right, let's get to Jaylen Brown now. Take a look at some numbers presented by Arbella Insurance here for Banner 18, here for good. And you see what Jaylen did in game 1, 29 points. He was 12 of 23 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 12 rebounds. I mean, just an incredible performance. Did mention after the game that, the cut on his hand opened up, but, playing with the mask, dealing with that, but he still goes out.
He loves the mask.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is a new superhero with a mask, it seems like to me. I mean, Grant Williams is wearing Batman costumes, but Jaylen's wearing the mask and making it work.
Well, he's making it work, but, if his hand opened up, he went out there, he scored 29 points. It didn't seem like it affected his shot at all.
It's that time of year, guys are getting banged up. Giannis is banged up, and Tyler Hero unfortunately broken hand and all that. But this is that time of year, you just play through it.
And the conversation we've had about Jaylen, especially over the last couple of months, is about making an All-NBA team, and obviously what that would mean for Jaylen and also for the Celtics' ability to offer him a super max. It's easy enough for fans to say, like, oh, yeah, absolutely. But from an ownership perspective, how great would that be?
I just love seeing our guys. Look, I'm here for them, and I just am. For the fans, I'm a fan. We're a family here. If he gets an accolade and gets a better thing, that's like a thrill to me. That's like mission accomplished. So I want him to get everything he deserves, and he deserves the world.
And the Supermax as well?
Oh, no doubt.
Go for it, man.
All right, awesome. Fans are going to love that, too. Let's talk about Rob Williams and just what he's meant to this team as far as the energy goes. We're mentioning Joe Mazzulla. Yeah, how do you feel about Rob?
Well, we talk about it all the time. Rob Williams is the anchor of our defense. What he does is cover up so many mistakes that can happen on the perimeter, right? And if you make a mistake, usually it's a mistake from being aggressive. Now you can be more aggressive because you do have somebody that can erase your mistakes, that sometimes he won't even block the shot, but his presence being there changes the guy's thought process as he's coming in. He's like, oh, no, there he is. I'll kick it out. Now they're taking a contested 3 as opposed to a contested layup. So he does so many things on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, how he puts pressure on the defense by attacking the rim and just understanding his role. He catches it. He knows he's not going to shoot a 17-foot jump shot, right? Well, you gotta have other guys catch it and take a look at the rim. He's catching it, going right into a dribble handoff. He's a good
passer.
Yes.
I think JT said he's his favorite teammate, to play with. They can throw it up there. There's going to be a rebound. There's going to be a good pass. He's blocking people out. He's getting the boards. They came out and rebounded at the beginning of last game. That was the game right there. They kept these guys off the boards. We'll see what happens tonight, right?
And you got to give credit to Joe Mazzulla because at the 7-minute mark, he took Marcus Smart out, entered Rob Williams. Now we have a double big lineup. We didn't run that too much this year because, guys not playing back-to-backs and Rob being hurt and not being available. But to go in and understand how precious that basketball is and to possession, to go out there and do that early. And then Marcus being a guy that's like saying, hey, I'm selfless. No, whatever for the team. I'm doing this for the team. And you see the jump that we had controlling the glass and controlling the paint in that first game.
Wyc, one thing you mentioned last week on the radio that I thought was really interesting was you talked about the locker room, this group of guys, and it being one of the best groups you've been around in 20 years. What is it about this group that makes them special?
I guess I'd say it starts with the the two or three stars that we have. It probably does. Eddie can probably comment better, being in the locker room more than I am. I pop in, but I can see when JT and JB are bought in, and then it continues with Al Horford and Marcus and everybody. I mean, they're bought in, and they're not going to. What happened in 08, seemed to me, 07, 08, is KG said, we're not going to have any nonsense. We're going to win this thing. And everybody fell in line. That's what I felt like. I think that's pretty true. Out here, it's those two guys saying, we're going for this. Unfinished business, let's finish it off.